Hello, nerds and nerdettes. Thank you for joining me once again. I'm your self-proclaimed king of the nerds. The zombie apocalypse, nuclear fallout, some deadly disease that's supposed to wipe out humanity. We've all thought about it. We've all been addicted by it. The end of the world. So, growing up, we've all had that fantasy of being the lone survivor, the hero that comes and saves the day in a world that's completely devoid of everything. It's just you against monsters or creatures or zombies of the world. And then you finally come across a ragtag group of individuals and you become what you can say a family. I know recently with everything from video games to movies, zombie apocalypse or other type of end of the world scenarios have become a popular trend. Today we're going to be talking about one, Last Kids on Earth. Now, I'm going to admit right now, I have not read the books Last Kid on Earth. I'm only going to be talking about the Netflix TV show that has just recently come out off of book 1. What is Last Kids on Earth? Last Kids on Earth follows the adventures of one Jack Sullivan, a middle schooler who is pretty much a loner his entire life. He's been an orphan, so he doesn't know his parents, and so he's traveled from house to house, to family to family. His recent family either isn't too thrilled with having him or just whatever, doesn't care in general. But he makes friends. Few friends. When one day, out of nowhere, the skies turn green, spiraling vortexes open up, and zombies and monsters start roaming the world. He bolts to his house, and he ends up living in a treehouse for 42 days. Now, this treehouse isn't like a normal treehouse. This treehouse was built by his previous family for his foster brother. And oh my god, this treehouse is pretty much better than most apartments I've seen. It has cable, it has internet, it has video games, it has a mini fridge. I mean, this thing is like fully decked out. I don't understand why people build treehouses like that, but hey, whatever. If you got the money, do it, right? So he survives for 42 days on his own, pretty much searching for a girl almost every day named June Del Toro. They are not subtle about the fact that he likes June Del Toro. They pretty much beat you over the head with it. Pretty much almost every other sentence is, we need to rescue June Del Toro. Yeah. So, the lone hero with the love interest. Now, he has decided to deal with the zombie apocalypse or this monster apocalypse the only way that he knows how. He is a video game junkie. So he pretty much makes everything like you would in Call of Duty or any other video game with adventuring things, is he makes up feats that he has to accomplish or little mini tasks. And one of the things is the feat of ultimate zombie survival, and that's rescue the damsel in distress, specifically June Del Toro. Once again, they beat you over the head with that. So, the show starts off with you meeting Jack and a giant creature who he names of Blarg. It is probably the biggest one that they've seen according to their research that you find later on. And I do say they, and I'll get to that in a second. He pretty much has a Louisville Slugger, the baseball bat, that he swings at the creature, breaks it in half, and it breaks in such a way that it makes almost a perfect sword type shape. So it goes from a Louisville Slugger to now the Louisville Slicer. It is his weapon of choice. It is now his holy blade if he was a paladin. I'll get into more about that in a minute too. He meets Blarg, stabs him in the eye with the Louisville Slicer, and pretty much escapes. The main reason he was at where he was to meet Blarg, he was at the CVS, and they actually say, that's one good thing about books, you can actually say certain places like CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, whatever. You have to actually pay kind of, depending on how bad the place wants to be, you pretty much would have to pay royalties to do a lot of that stuff in movies and video games. Anyways, so he's at CVS because he needs to find an eyeglass repair kit. Now, he does not wear glasses. What he needs it for is him and one of his best friends, who is a huge science nerd geek, which is one great thing I love about him. He's huge on science. have walkies, not walkie-talkies, just the simple 5-mile radius walkies. All right. He actually makes a point of saying that they're not walkie-talkies; they're just walkies. I don't know. I don't really know what the difference is, but hey, you can walk, you can talk. It's a walkie-talkie. But he needs the eyeglass repair kit to repair, pretty much the walkie-talkie and try to see if his friend actually is still alive. So after 42 days of being on his own and surviving pretty much off of junk food, which is every kid's dream if you're a middle schooler, is to pretty much eat junk food and play video games all day and not have to worry about anything. He finally gets a hold of his friend, who pretty much when he goes to leave his treehouse to go rescue his friend, he finds him locked away in his room doing research on all the monsters and creatures that he has seen. And at first he refuses to leave his house because all of his research is there. Jack convinces him to come along. And they eventually go to leave, but he insists on taking all his research with him. This is where one of the best parts of the show comes, and that's where they introduce you to their vehicle, their group, their battle wagon, whatever you want to call it, called Big Mama. Now, I don't exactly know what Big Mama is. They make it look like it's a car, like it's a truck, but they're middle schoolers, so they're not adult size. But the entire Big Mama wagon looks like it would be for them, like their size, like middle schoolers and younger kids. So I kind of think that it's a hugely decked out, gas-powered gator or golf cart. That's my theory. That the best friend, I'm sorry, I'm not dropping his name because right now I can't really think of his name. It's popping in and out of my head, and I don't really remember what his name is. But I do remember he's a huge science geek, and he's great because he pretty much invents all of their gadgets and stuff in the show. But he completely decks out this go-kart or wagon or whatever you want to call it with butter slicks, which pretty much puts a melted butter all over the ground, makes things slippery, with a harpoon launcher on the top and a skull-shaped candle on the front, and all these little gadgets for Big Mama, and it's great. I love the thing. It's amazing. All right, so they take that to go back to the clubhouse. And on the way, they come across the bully of the school. In the beginning, they introduced the bully, Jack, a bully that was to Jack or whatever, but he ends up saving Jack's life from some monsters, and now you pretty much have another aspect. I'm going to actually drop this. It's something I have found out. These characters are the best D&D characters you can come across with, okay? Jack Sullivan is an inspiring... They're inspiring characters. Like, they're inspiring... Like, before they become old enough to adventure on, they will be D&D characters. Jack Sullivan, fully on an aspiring paladin. He wants to be a paladin. He has the blade. He believes in justice. He's inspiring. He gets the people going. He's definitely a paladin. His best friend, who I want to call Terry, but I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, but he's full on the wizard. All right, he does the research. He knows the potions. He's pretty much the wizard, the research wizard, artificer of the group. Right? He's the wizard. He's the studier. He comes up with all these things. Right? He's the tinker or whatever, but he pretty much the only class I know that really does hardcore studying like that are wizards. All right. The bully, who I want to say his name is Dirk, he's fully the barbarian. All right. He takes they call winged wretch, these giant pterodactyl-looking things, grabs it by the ankle, flings it around, and throws it. He's totally the barbarian. All right. He's perfectly the barbarian. All right. So they meet up with Dirk, and so now you have the paladin, you have a wizard, and you have a barbarian. Perfect. You have the starts of a great D&D team. All right. During their getaway, they end up blowing up a gas station and start blowing up a gas station to get away from the winged wretches. And then Big Mama turns out to be out of gas. So Jack has to go and find find a gas station. Coming across the gas station, he's got this drone that's following him, so he can record and pretty much, record. He can record all of his, as he calls his badass moments. All right, his moments of coolness. So, and that's another reason why he'd be a paladin. His charisma is really high. His moments of coolness. He's, So, as he's at the gas station, he comes across this monster dog. He kind of acts like a dog, but isn't really a dog. And he decides, at first, he doesn't want the dog. You didn't eat me. You're good. You're a good monster. All right, but I got to go back to my folks. Rover, who he eventually names, ends up saving him from a group of zombies. He decides to keep it. So now they have an animal companion. Boom. All right. As they are going along and they decide to go out some more and do some more searching, they come across Blarg. At least Dirk and Jack do. They come across Blarg at kind of like a Home Depot Menards type lumber party, I think is what it's called. Is what it's called in the show. They come across him to Blarg because they go there looking for June because they think that's the last place they saw her. Turns out no, lumber party, as they put out, has become a zombie party. So there's this huge amount of zombies, all right? But Blarg comes there. They have to run for their lives. And they pretty much book it back to the treehouse. They inform the wizard, Terry, about Blarg eventually. Because in order to get out, Dirk picks up a whole ping pong table, being the barbarian. He's got the strength to do this. And uses it as like a barricade and just smashes through the zombies to get back to Big Mama. Then they put it into the back of the cart. So now they have a treehouse. They have a ping pong table. All right? Because who doesn't love a good game of ping pong now and then? They inform him about Blarg. And that's when they decide to turn the treehouse into the Treehouse of Awesomeness. Where they pretty much deck it out with catapults that throw refrigerators and firework rocket launchers. And they just deck this thing out to hell. All right? They decide to go out again to try to find June, because once again, beating it over your head that, yeah, okay, we get it. Jack likes June. He's going to rescue her. Get on with it. They decide to split up, and Dirk and Terry make a saddle out of an old motorcycle seat. The saddle's for Rover. Now the paladin has his mount. He comes full circle. So he gets on the saddle. He puts the saddle on Rover. Rover goes running out like any creature that has never been a mount before. He's going to have to definitely train him, but that's probably going to come out in later episodes, books, whatever. As they get to the high school, they see June's jacket waving out the window. And he's like, hey, that's where June is. He goes back, gets the guys, and they go to rescue her. Turns out it was one of those scenarios where their arriving actually kind of made things a little bit worse. All right? She had the entire place decked out. She knew the routines of the zombies. She knew how to stop them. She had a path to and from the kitchen so she could get food every day. She was surviving just fine until they showed up. They let zombies out of the teacher's conference room. They completely barricaded any way for them to get any food or whatever. But it turns out June's a badass. All right? I guess you can say she's... Dirk at one point asks, why is he so obsessed with June? Is she a doctor or a ninja or something? When they reveal June, she's one of the girls that editor of the school newspaper, played field hockey, all this other stuff. She has a hockey stick and she uses it to break into a vending machine, which busts off the head. Okay, cool. So now there's kind of what's left of the hockey stick is made like a wooden spear, and that's pretty much her weapon. All right. So, yeah, she's pretty much a ninja. She's a rogue. She's a monk. All right? I guess you can say she's a monk, but whatever. But she's definitely the rogue of the group, but she uses a spear. All right? She's fast. She's smart. She's a badass, okay? So, at first meeting them, she's pissed at them, so she can't leave because of all this other stuff. It turns out the reason she can't leave is because it's the last place that her parents saw her. While they were being escorted out on a bus, she was on top of the school. They saw her. She saw them. she didn't want to leave because they might come back for her. That's a great reasoning. Though eventually you're going to run out of food and have to leave anyways, but that's neither here nor there. So they convince her to come back to the treehouse, but they need to get out. Who makes an appearance? Blarg. This is when they realize, because it is nighttime, and because when Jack met Blarg, he took the Louisville slicer and stabbed him in one of his eyes. He really can't see that well. It screwed up his vision. He has no dark vision, so he can't see what's going on. So they have to do the sneaky, stealthy thing back out to Big Mama and get the hell out of there. Unfortunately, when they go to turn on Big Mama, when they eventually get out there, the lights, all the lights that are on the thing, the headlights, the overhead lights, everything turn on, pretty much signaling where they are. So Jack decides to sacrifice himself, so to speak, by taking the duct tape off of his hand-me-down shoes. This is actually brought up earlier in the show, but his shoes are one of those ones that every time you take a step, the heel parts of the back of the shoes start to glow and flash. And, ooh, yeah, to all your movements. But he put pretty much duct tape over them because he didn't want to be seen with kitty shoes, but they're hand-me-down shoes. So he jumps out of Big Mama, rips the tape off, and then starts doing a really stupid dance to pretty much make the lights on the back of his shoes start flashing. All right, which attracts Blarg. But it double attracts Blarg because, as you find out earlier in the episode, that Blarg is kind of hunting Jack. So that's the entire thing. All right. So Jack runs. The rest of them bolt out. Before they go anywhere, though, Terry throws a little glass vial of acid, and hey, acid face wash. Take it. Get going. All right. So you have something kind of like you can throw or whatever you need, all right, in case you need it. So Jack runs from Blarg. He's doing fine until he takes a turn down an alley, which dead ends. 42 days of exploring the city trying to find June, and he doesn't remember which alley's dead end. Sorry, just a little loophole there that I kind of got an issue with. So Blarg comes up towards Jack. Jack uses his slingshot to fire the vial of acid at his face. It hits him in the eye. But now Blarg doesn't die or anything. For some reason, now it upgrades him. Now, the side of his face is burnt, but now his saliva is acid. He can spit acid saliva. So, and he's a little bit more pissed now. Way to go, Jack. But of course, who comes to the rescue? Rover! So, they bolt the hell out of there, meet up with the group, and then they head back to the treehouse where they decide, yeah, this is where we're going to fight. All right, this is where we're going to make our last stand. This is where we're going to fight. This is where we're going to do our stuff. So they start firing everything they have at Blarg until eventually there's nothing left. So there's this running gag through the entire show that the friend Terry can't throw, Jack can't catch. Matter of fact, they build a little moat around the treehouse that's like deep and wide, and they pretty much also use it like a swimming pool. But the entire time is they're going to now play toss and catch during this one part of the thing, and Terry keeps trying to throw this Nerf football, Jack keeps trying to catch it, but instead he just keeps belly flopping, and then he gives himself feat rewards because he did a belly flop, an atomic belly flop, a nuclear belly flop, and all this other stuff. But yeah, there's this running gag that Terry can't throw, Jack can't catch. And of course, what does it come down to? They have to play a game of toss and catch with a Louisville slicer. So as Jack runs and jumps off the treehouse and Terry throws the Louisville slicer, of course it's that one moment where Jack manages to catch it and he's flying towards Blarg. Blarg is reaching out to him. Jack lands on Blarg's arm and, "You're not catching me today," and just runs up his arm and ends up stabbing him through the top of the head with the Louisville slugger. And beats Blarg. So Blarg lays there pretty much dead. Jack is like, "Yeah, we did it," and he goes into his fantasy realm of him being the knight with the sword, and then there's the barbarian. Terry's got a cloak on, and she June is just more kind of like a Valkyrie type of character or whatever. But that then he realized, hey, I don't have to imagine this. It really happened, you know. And then he's like, hey, we did good today. You know, we protected the treehouse. We killed a boss level monster, as he calls it. You know, today was a good day. Then it ends with a over the shoulder shot. You just see pretty much the arm and a slight part of the back of somebody holding a note that June left at the high school for her parents. And he just goes, humans. And then that ends episode 1. That ends book 1. Now, I know I pretty much did a short synopsis, highlight point by point of the show. I am going to recommend that you watch it, though. But I do have a few things. One, like I pointed out before, 42 days by yourself. All you've had to eat was junk food. You would be sluggish. You would be tired. You would have no nutritional value in you whatsoever, so you probably wouldn't be able to do half the shit they did. But hey, it's a cartoon. The new baddie who we're probably going to be revealed to in book 2, the book 2 when they actually promote it on Netflix, I kind of can't wait to see. I have a feeling it's going to be either a human monster or a intelligent zombie, which is I always like it when they do like intelligent zombies or things like that in movies or TV shows or whatever, you know, because it puts a new edge on everything. I mean, it's not just a zombie now; it's an intelligent zombie. It thinks, it can learn, it can do whatever. I liked Land of the Dead because of that. They were learning, so they were more of a threat than just a shambling group of undead. But the bottom line is pretty much this. Last Kids on Earth, it was pretty much every fantasy I had when I was in middle school and high school. You know, not that everybody's dead. No, you know, the lone survivor, the hero, you know, where, you know, the survival type thing. It's pretty much what it always was, but I always had ideas of, hey, if this happened, how would I be able to defend myself? What would I be able to do? Things like that. I still have that mindset nowadays. I mean, I could be sitting in a room looking around like, okay, if it was going to hit the fan today, what would I have around me? I mean, I got an old cane over there that used to belong to someone in my family. I mean, I got the windows I can escape from. I got a door right there. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, pretty much. I love things like that. You know, 7 Days to Die is one of my favorite PC games. It's an open sandbox zombie survival game. I'll get into that on another video if you guys so deem. Hell, maybe if I can even get my computer up and running, I'll live stream playing for a little bit. If I can get a couple people to join me, that'd be great. Anyways, so Last Kids on Earth, this is not even the first book. This is actually the kind of like a supplement book. It is the Last Kids on Earth survival guide. So the first book my son has read repeatedly. So yeah, I don't really have that even to show you. I have a supplemental book. He still reads it. And they constantly want to see that. The best way, if you want a really, really shortened, dumbed down description, Walking Dead for kids with monsters. Alright? But there's a lot more to it than that. So pretty much, as it comes down to it, I'm going to give this pretty much a 4 out of 5. It's almost the best, I guess you can say, family zombie-oriented movie or show out there. No. I know there's not many, if there's any, but it's definitely really good. It has one or two things that are, it's pretty much nitpicking. That's why it doesn't get a full 5-star, but that's me nitpicking on the last one. And then again, it's hard to make anything 100%. Anyway, so 4 out of 5, totally recommend. Give it a watch. Sit down with people in your life that you know like zombie survival or any type of end of the world type scenario, and it's good for the kids. You know, it's fun. It has the kids doing their own thing. Shows each of them are individuals, yet, you know, they're individuals, yet they're together as a unit. Each of them bring their own things to the party. Yes, there are D&D elements. If you're a D&D nut like myself, you definitely will watch this and go, I see how they did that. That is definitely D&D. That is related to D&D. Hell, you can even base that on a campaign if you want to. Whatever. But once again, folks, nerds and nerdettes, ladies and gentlemen, all the ships at sea, I am the self-proclaimed king of the nerds. I love you guys, and until then, keep adventuring on.